All right, so we are going to talk about photo organization. Jolene and Liz and I were just talking about how this is a really important topic that pretty much everyone wants to know a little bit more about. So I am going to get started with a few things that kind of lead us to some ideas for photo organization. So first of all, when I say organization, I really mean the ability to find and see and share and enjoy and use your photos. I don't feel like it has to be perfect and, what you just have to be able to find it and use it and love it. And so I want to encourage you to do what clicks in your brain because if it makes sense in your brain, that's the easiest thing to do. If it makes sense in my brain and you try to do it, but it doesn't make sense in your brain, it's actually super hard and you probably won't have very much luck. So do whatever clicks in your brain. And I do also want to just sort of wrap up that idea with the idea that organization is a reachable goal. Sometimes we get, I think I want to say like addicted to overwhelm. Like I feel like sometimes we're just so
Yeah.
used to it that we're like, oh, I'm just overwhelmed, nothing's organized, and that's just like life, and that's how it's going to be.
Right.
But
Yeah.
actually, organizing is a reachable goal. So if you can just like expand your brain a little bit to include that idea, that will help with success as well. All right, so I want to talk about a few things first before, like I said, before I get to some ideas for organizing. And so I want to mention a few things that people may or may not know. So, where your photos and videos are matters. If you have photos and videos on a computer, a phone, an external hard drive, that's fine, but you need a backup because each one of those things carry a risk of hardware failure, theft, files getting corrupted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you want to have them in those places, I do. I have photos on my computer and on my phone, but they're not the only place I have them in case I drop my phone in a river or something like that. So, and then if you have photos in Google or Dropbox or Amazon Photos or SmugMug or Shutterfly or iCloud, etc., I don't recommend that for the three underlined reasons that I have in that first bullet point. First of all, they're temporary, and I think not everyone kind of like recognizes that. They're temporary because all of those companies reserve rights to delete your photos and your account without warning. They're also not private. Most of those companies reserve rights to sell both your information and your photos. I think we all sort of already knew that about Google. Like we all like, oh yeah, I Googled, mint chocolate chip ice cream recipes, and then guess what? Is all over Facebook and all over, whatever. And then the other reason to not have your photos in um, those companies is that they operate under what I like to call the pay monthly until you die method. So just like if you ever stop paying, it goes away. And even
Hmm.
if you do pay up until the day you die, they're actually not accessible after your death for loved ones. iCloud is one of the biggest ones for that. There is no way. I actually have a friend whose brother passed away and she wanted to get into his phone, and she said that Apple says not even with a court order can you get into someone's iCloud. So just so you know, if you want to pass them down or you want to share your photos with anyone else, it's not maybe what you're looking for. And I do also want to mention this because most people don't know this, but iCloud is a sync. It's a direct sync to your phone or tablet or whatever. It is not a backup. In fact, Apple's terms of service for iCloud actually say you should back up your photos somewhere else. This is not a backup. So what a sync means, a direct sync, is that what happens to one happens to the other. So if you put, you know, some videos or whatever in iCloud, you can't delete them off your phone. They still have to be on your phone in order for them to still be in iCloud. So you're not really like saving phone storage space or anything like that. It's just a direct sync, and most people don't. know that. They think, oh, I put it in iCloud, I can just delete them. So I want to mention that. And then, because of all those things, that's why tonight we're only going to talk about organizing photos and videos through Forever Storage. Because when you do it that way, you can organize and share and preserve and back up audio files, video files, photos, and document PDF files. And all these other bullet points are why I love Forever Storage. So, one reason is that they're backed up many times over in multiple undisclosed locations. The CEO won't even say where it is for security. And I always think that is so much better the care of my photos than I ever take of them, right?
Right.
They're backed up many times over. The backups are encrypted, and they are air gapped for protection and security from hacking. Forever uses the same digital storage methods as the CIA in Family Search. And then also when your photos and videos and all your goodies are in Forever Storage, they are private. Only you retain rights to your files. You can do whatever you want with them. You are in charge. Forever is not. And then this is another like huge one. Your files are going to be updated if, but I say when, file formats become outdated. So right now we take JPEGs typically for photos. There used to be MP3, MP4,
Oh
I
yeah.
guess, for videos, and
Yep.
like those things change all the time. But part of the deal when you put your digital memories in Forever Storage is that they will automatically update to whatever the newest and coolest, floppy disk is in the future. So I love that too.
Yeah.
And then, of course, your private Forever Cloud storage is guaranteed through the Guarantee Fund for your lifetime plus 100 years, accessible to anyone of your choosing. So my family has my password, my login information, and they can go in and see it anytime. And so when I pass on, that will already be they already will have access to pictures of their great great grandparents or whatever. So.
Mm, neat.
And then you can also make connections and share with people right now too. So that's pretty cool. So, a couple more things before we get to the method. If you've already got photos organized on your computer, I highly recommend that you use Forever's free software called Valet. What that does is you can bulk upload from your computer into Forever Storage, and it keeps the same organizational structure that you already have. So it's super easy. So if you've already organized into, folders and folders and subfolders and all that stuff, you can use Valet and just do this bulk upload, which is pretty cool. So I would just want to make sure you know about that. You can access, meaning upload and organize, your Forever Storage from a computer, either a desktop or a laptop, from your phone, there's a free app, or from a tablet. So whatever you do today, if you're on a phone or a computer or whatever, and then you go to another device and log in there, whatever you do today is going to be visible anytime you log into your account or use the app from anywhere. So you can use your computer to upload and organize. You can use your phone and to upload. So it doesn't matter. You can use Forever on multiple devices, which is really cool. All right. So now you have all the why. You have all the info that I wanted to tell you before we talk about the how. So, like I said before we started recording, feel free to ask questions or share thoughts as we go.
I have
Okay. No,
one
please.
quick dumb question. Are we prepared for all world happenings like EMF or whatever, things like that?
Yeah. So that was asked to the CEO on some call I was on a while ago. And he said yes, but like if the world explodes, there's kind of nothing anybody can do about anything. So
Right.
he
Right.
was,
No, no.
yeah, So yeah, there are multiple backups in multiple locations. to do as well as we can in that kind of event.
All right. I was
If
just,
that's
that popped in my head while you were talking. I was like,
yeah,
what about?
yeah,
All right, go
right.
on.
Yeah. So I mean, but that's the idea though, is um forever is intended to be forever. It's intended to be passed down from generation to generation, but it's just like your legacy, right? Your digital memories legacy. And so that's the goal. They're trying to do whatever they need to make it available for that. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. All right. So, um, this is my recommendation for organizing. And you can just kind of pick and choose the ideas as fits you. But like I said, if it take what clicks for you. Okay, so this is sort of my take on something called the Big Rock method. So you might have heard of the organizational or time management approach using the example of rocks in a jar. So if you fill your jar with sand and pebbles first, there's no room for the big rocks. But if you start filling a jar with big rocks, you'll be able to fit in the pebbles and sand too, because they'll fill in all the spaces and you can get everything in. So that is, I think, an easy and successful approach to photo organization as well. If you start with the big rocks and then you focus on the pebbles and the sand. So I'll tell you what I mean by that. So in your Forever account, you have what's called a gallery. It used to be called the library, and everything goes in it. And I actually like the term library better because when you go to a library, that's where all the books are, right? But then it's organized in smaller sections like self-help and nonfiction and stuff like that, right? So
Mm.
you can think about the gallery like a library where everything goes there. So everything that you ever upload into your Forever account will go into your gallery. But for easiest access, you'll want to organize your photos into albums. Albums are like folders on your computer. Albums are what we're going to call the big rocks. They're the main folders that you have in your Forever storage. And I recommend that you choose broad topics for your albums, maybe like organizing by decade or by topic. And also another, I think, important tip is that your albums are going to be easier to navigate if you don't have too many. If you don't have to just scroll for days to get to the bottom of your albums. So I'm going to show you my account and how I've done it. But for now, this is just a screenshot of it from my phone. So I have an album for my current photos for the year. I have one called Ancestors and Heirlooms. I have one of Christmas cards and my forever projects. And then I have one of my kids that are there's like their graduation books and like very specific things in there. And then just our general pictures I have by decade. So you can see this one is 2003 to 2010, which actually that's old. I switched how I did the decades, but because that's not exactly 10 years, but um it's when I got a digital phone or digital camera. So anyway, and so I just have it by decades, and that's I think I have like 8 of them so that I don't have to scroll forever and ever. Those are my big rocks. I can find them by the largest topic possible. And then once you've got your big rocks set up, your albums, you can actually organize more with nested albums. They go inside the albums. So nested albums are
Mm.
like subfolders on your computer. And you can add multiple nested albums inside an album. Nested albums are the pebbles in the sand that I was talking about. And they're going to fit in easily after you get the big rocks or the albums set up. This additional organization will help you keep your photos and videos in places where you'll be able to find them easily. And here's an example of that. So these are my 2016 photos. And then I have them each organized by month. You can see April and December and February and everything. And then if within that we did like a big trip or somebody's birthday or something like that, then even within that, I will have multiple nested albums so that I can, it breaks it down and I can find things easily. All right, 2 helpful tips. One is that you can assign any item, a photo, a video, PDF of your completed books, an audio file, or whatever, to multiple albums. So, and you can just upload it once, but then assign it to different places. So for example, if you have an album or a big rock called Trips and another one called 2021, but you went on a special trip in 2021 and you don't really know where to put it, you can actually just assign the file to both places. It can be housed in one, and then you can say there's a little thing that says add to a different album. Um, and then you'll be able to see that from both places, which is super cool. I have done that on several things. And that helps me be able to find things better too. And then the other helpful tip, which I highly recommend, is that you add descriptions to your photos. I can show you what that looks like shortly. But basically, in a description, like, this is me with my best friend, blah, blah, when we went to this and celebrated graduation. Everything that you say in there, every word is searchable. And so that's another way to easily find a photo. And I'll show you that in a minute. So I just think those are two really great ways to be able to find whatever it is you're looking for. All right, so a little advice on how to get started. I am going to say start small. Start just by creating your albums. Make 5 of them, make one, whatever. So choose those big rocks, the albums that you'd like to have, the big broad topics. And I'll give you a peek at my organizational choices here in a second, but make sure that you do what makes sense to your brain. And then after you set up your albums, those big rocks, start with just filling one of those albums. Focus on just one today. Add a nested album inside it, and then add photos to that nested album. And then get the hang of it. Like, do that a few times before you move on to others, because I think it helps us narrow down in our brains, like, I have 20,000 photos. And it helps you go like, okay, yeah, but we're doing 2017 and that's all. And then we're doing August of 2017 and that's all, you know? So, and then just a PS, if you end up putting a photo somewhere and you decide you want somewhere else, you can move photos between albums and nested albums and stuff. You're not stuck once you decide to put something somewhere. Okay. So I think that it can be helpful to see how other people do things. So I would like to show you my personal forever storage and how I've organized things. But again, please just do things the way you prefer. If you find that half of my ideas are helpful to you, great. Do half of those. And then ask questions as we go. And you're welcome to take notes on any ideas, whether you want to do the same thing or like, we'll not be doing that, and I want to do this instead. Okay, so I'm gonna stop this share and then head over to, hang on, over to my forever storage. Come on, there we go. So I will get back to my screen share.
You have multiple monitors, don't you?
No, I have just the one, but I have several things open at the same time.
Jeez.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. All right, so you can see my forever storage, yeah?
No.
Yeah, I see the
Oh, there
header.
you now I can.
There we go. Okay, okay, perfect. Okay, so in your forever account, you have a couple of ways to view things. If you want to look at your gallery, you can, if you can see my mouse over here at the right, it says view your gallery. Also over here at the left under the forever logo, where I'm moving my mouse around, that says gallery. And again, gallery is just where everything is. And so I feel like I don't really need to show you my gallery because that's just where everything is. And it's not organized in there. So albums is what I want to show you. So these are my albums. These are my big rocks. So, and you can see that I've updated what it looks like a little bit since I made my slides. So I always have one for this year just because I don't want to, I'm lazy and I don't want to do multiple clicks. If eventually this year is going to be stored inside 2021 to 2030, that decade. And so eventually at the end of this year, I will move that into there. But for now, just to upload my current pictures, like from today, I would have to go in and click this and then the nested album and then find the year and then the month. And like, I'm too lazy. So I'm just doing this for now. And then when that's done, I will move that into the decade that it belongs in. And then you can see I have ancestors and heirlooms. I will point out too that my forever projects, I just like looking at them all in one place. I don't need them there. They're in my gallery and like I can find them by just searching for projects. So I don't really, but I don't know. I like it. It's pretty. So, okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of things and I made notes. So I make sure to show you. Okay. So, for example, so these are my big rocks, and I don't really want more than this. Eventually, I'm going to have another decade, but
I
I
got
this is
38 albums.
manageable.
Is that way too many?
What'd you say?
I have 38 albums.
You know what? Seriously, just do what works for you, really. Like
Oh,
just make sure you're
wow.
not overwhelmed is all it is. Make sure you can find what you
I
want
think
to
I
find.
know how to, but I didn't
Yeah.
know how to do the nested thing. So now I think I can take one and move it up into another one. Because
That's
like
what
my
I'm doing.
daughter,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That
I
Yeah.
didn't know
that
that. So, okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
no, yeah, no, you're good. And seriously, if you're like, I am cool, 38 albums, I am totally cool.
Well, I
That's
think I
fine. It's
could
just
do
I
it a
have
lot.
no
I could cut it. I think I could,
yeah,
I think that would be a
yeah,
good
Well,
way to
I don't
go.
have any sub items yet.
yeah.
I started with sub items, but with ADD, I was getting annoyed at opening triple things to get to the same
Yeah, so that's
thing.
the thing. That's the thing. Just do
Yeah.
what works for you, for sure. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm like her. I've got, how have I got it? 40s, 50s, 60s,
Yeah.
all the way
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whereas I
And you can
probably
definitely do
could,
it that way. Yeah.
but I could do a historical one doing the 40s through
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
80s or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going
Just
to show
slide
you a
it
few.
over.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to show you a few of my nested albums. So, for example, in my ancestors and heirlooms, I have some family heirlooms and I collect nativities and Christmas ornaments. So all the pictures
Mm.
of all my little nativities and Christmas ornaments are in there. And then I have these are my grandparents on my mother's side, my grandparents on my father's side, and their ancestors. So if I have pictures going back to, great great greats or whatever, those are in there. My parents, and then some audiobooks that we read. This is, I ask my family to upload their favorite photos from the year so that every year when I make a family
Oh,
calendar, all their photos are in one place. So that's kind of cool.
good idea.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so that's just kind of an example of a big rock down to some pebbles and sand. And then I'm going to go over to my digital vault. I want to point this out to you because um, this is so cool. Because your Forever account is private, you can put your most important documents, like all the stuff that's
Oh.
in your file cabinet, in here so that if your house burns down, there it is. Or you lose your passport on your trip and you have a picture of it or whatever. So that's pretty cool. Work,
That
I will tell
is.
I will tell you that so I'm a teacher, you guys know, and I
Mhm.
spend hours, like thousands of hours on lesson plans and like, whatever. And I realized
Been there.
recently if something happens to like this room, I keep everything in here, my computer, and then I have a
Mhm.
printed version that I take to school. And if something happens to this room, I have to quit my job because I will not redo all that work. I will not. It was exhausting. So I actually just went to my computer, clicked save as a PDF, and put them in there. So I have them backed
Yeah.
up, which is amazing. And then the last thing that I want to show you about the digital vault is just that I have taken, I got this idea from someone else, cannot take credit, videos of my house for insurance purposes. So I
Oh.
literally just walk through and I will give you some advice. Don't wait until your house is clean to do it. Just do it. And people are probably not ever even going to see this video, right? Your house will probably
Yeah.
not, but just go in and like, here are all the books that belong to us. Here's grandma's china. Here's, whatever.
hmm
So smart. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last album that I wanted to show you, I want to show you about searchable descriptions and talk about that a little. So I'm going to show you one of so this is a nested album. And then in December, it's our wedding anniversary, and we went on this huge trip. So I have like the Christmas ones and whatever. And then I have We make gingerbread houses every year. And then this even has more nested albums because it was a 9-day trip and blah, 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 right? So there's a ton of stuff. So I just want to, I don't know what day to show you. Doesn't matter. So I just want to show you so let's say you
Oh,
click
pretty.
on a picture, all right?
Mm.
If you open it up like
Oh.
this, over at the right, you see the name of the file, which is what my phone called it. And then I can write in my own description. Why did I take this picture? What is going on? What was the point? Right? The date that it's taken, because I took it with my phone, I didn't scan it in or whatever, like that's already updated. Then you can add tags. If I want to make a tag of anniversary trip or something like that, and then you can search by tag. But again, the description and the tags and actually the name of the file are all searchable. So if I want to go back into my albums, I have to go like back to show you this. But there's a search field, and I could just write Vienna. And every picture that I have written a description about Vienna, or including that word, will come up. So that is an amazing way to be able to find photos, even if you have a really good organizational structure and you're like, okay, well, was that in 2024 or 2025? You know what I mean? You can still actually search it, which is amazing. The other thing that I wanted to mention about that is that all of that data is called metadata. Once you add it in, it becomes permanent. And actually, I can just stop sharing my screen. Once you type in the description, it actually sticks with the photo after it leaves the Forever platform. And most places, like I know this is true in Google. I have not really heard about others, but I know that Forever's the only one. There's something that doesn't work if you take and download that photo out of that platform and then like you want to email it to somebody else, for example. So I'll just use Google for an example because I know that's true. If I had my picture in Google and I added all the description and all the things, when I download it out of Google and I save it to my computer so that I can, whatever, print it or send it to my sister, whatever, all of that information's gone. So all the time that you spend putting in all that information in there, wasted, totally gone.
Yeah.
But when you put it in Forever and you download it, you have to say specifically, yes, please download with metadata. There are two options. But when you say download it with metadata, I save it to my computer, I can open it up and the metadata is still there. I think that's amazing. And
That
so
is.
I
Good
want to
time
make sure
saver.
I mentioned that. Yeah, huge time saver. And just telling the story of your photos, because again, that photo I just showed you, totally random. What is that? Who cares?
Yeah.
But oh, here's the whole story, etc.
Oh
So
my gosh. That's a lot to do to all these pictures.
yeah.
I got a lot of
All
work
right.
ahead of me.
Well, that's what I like to do on nights like this. I'm
Yeah.
just like, I can just
Yeah.
go in and say what happened and all the things. And
Yeah.
actually, I like to do it immediately, like on my phone when I take the picture, like for my current pictures. When I
Yeah.
take the picture, there's a little eye. When I'm using the app, there's a little like eye with a circle around it for information. And you tap that and it kind of pops up. And you can actually use voice to text, right? Like we were at the cake shop in Vienna, right? Like, and so
Yeah.
easy. And I also like doing that even for old pictures, like when I got to some place too early and I have 10 minutes and I'm just sitting there in my car, just do pop up and talk in your phone and
And you
like
can,
get that information in there. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
so you
All
can
right, I'm gonna go ahead
can
and
you
turn.
do that on your phone, you said?
You can. Hmm.
Oh, you could put the information per the picture.
Yep. Let me
So we go
see.
to this one.
Yeah, let me see if
Oh,
I
the
can.
info. There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
info. I was gonna say, let me see if
Yeah.
I can show you my phone. Usually my
Well, I
phone gets a
know.
little
Oh
funky,
yeah.
but you found it. Good.
Yeah.
You good.
I found it.
Okay, I'm gonna turn off the recording. Oh, wait. Yeah, put it right in the middle if you would, Jolene. Yeah, and back it up just a little bit just because it's
Just a
fuzzy.
little. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So yeah, but that's where it is. You just
there
open,
it
yeah,
is.
there it is, there it is. Perfect, thank you. So you just open a photo and then click that little thing and that little eye, and then you can add your permanent metadata in there. You can tell the
Huh.
story and it's all searchable.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's,
I'm
you
going to
know,
turn off
that's
the
going to be
recording here and
hmm,
then we can keep
very
talking.
good.